And we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 84 of the Tiki Taka Podcast. I'm your host, Peter, and today I'm joined by Cynthia.
Hi.
Bruno, that's making another appearance after a 2-week absence.
What's going on, everyone?
And a special guest, Mario.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
I should have let Cynthia introduce you. It would have been better.
Probably not.
Yeah. So this should be a fun one. No sporting representative today. I think staff decided to go on a little bit of a leave. So if any Sportingista wants to talk sporting with us, just hit us up, and we'll let you fill in for staff at least until he returns. All right, now let's get on to business as usual. Let's start off with the first game that happened this weekend, and it just happens to be Benfica. So I'm going to give you the lineup real quick. So Bruno Varela was in goal, André Almeida, Ruben Dias-Jardel, and Grimaldo across the back. Feza, Pizzi, and Zivkovic in the midfield. Salvio, Servi on the wings, and Jonas up front. Now I want to let the guests go on first. So Mario, what did you think about this game?
Well, the end result was fantastic, so I'm not going to complain about that. Looking at the beginning, it was very choppy at the beginning, but I do think Zivkovic versus João in that position in the middle there was clearly a difference. I think it was the right call by Rui Vitória to switch that up. But it wasn't dicey. It wasn't smooth for the first while. It felt like the team took a while to find their legs. But at the end of the day, the positive is the end result, how he finished off the second half, how it went was great. Negative on me is Varela. While he has had his moments where he looks decent, it looks like he's finally finding his place. I felt this game, especially how he led in the goal, and also some of his ball handling continues to show that he's just not a big three keeper at the moment. And he does have the rest of the season to find his feeding to see if he'll actually get to stay on the team next year. But I just get worried that it's going to cost us points down the road.
Cynthia.
I don't agree with Mario. Regardless that he's hubs, doesn't matter.
I was waiting on that.
It happens, whatever.
Hold on a second. You're saying that a married couple doesn't see eye to eye on some things?
It happens, eh? What?
No.
This is a shock to me.
Cynthia just broke a lot of people's expectations.
What? No. We like the same club. At the end of the day, we like the same club. So it's not as hard as some relationships, but
yeah,
I mean we have to agree
that's a positive.
It was all a joke. Let me make that nice and clear.
I think we know, Bruno.
How dare you, Bruno? How dare you? Gonna get the hate mail. No. Put it at Bruno. He had that Twitter account for 5 minutes.
So yeah, go ahead and just
5 minutes, no, but 15, and then I was done.
Not enough to get all the hate mail, buddy. But no, I thought it was a shitty first half, which I believe he said. I feel like Pizzi and a couple others had a nap at halftime because then they came in and they did much better. The Rio Ave goal, I blame Diaz, yes, and I actually said this with you, Pete. Yes, we can blame him, but the goalkeeper should also be there. So Diaz didn't get the header, but then Bruno went down like a tree. It was weird. Ederson would have saved it. You know what I mean? Oblak would have saved it. We had other guys that would have saved it. Julio Cesar would have saved it. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So he's continuing to make me nervous back there. And Mario said it. He's not a big three keeper at the moment. So either practice more. I don't know. How do you work on that, right? Like sometimes you just don't have it. So I don't know what to do for him. There was a call for a penalty that everybody wanted, and for me, it was not a PK. The goalkeeper didn't actually grab the SLB foot. His hands were closed on himself. Whether or not he pushed the foot, I couldn't tell at the angle, but he didn't grab the foot. So for me, it wasn't a penalty because I heard a lot of booing about it. Pizzi goal was a frunk to me because it was just so slow. And Mario was like,
it's fine. It's going to be my mom too, right? She doesn't watch football, but we were eating. She doesn't watch football, but we were eating. And she's like, oh, what a frunk. And I'm like, no, that's not a frunk. The goalkeeper was diving one way and the ball went the other way because of the deflection.
But it was just so slow. I know
but it wasn't a frango.
I know it's not technically, but like that is the slowest. Come on. I was like, wow, that's so slow. Like, come on.
It's luck, but it's not a frango.
No, exactly. So what do we want to call it?
A reverse rocket.
I don't know.
A reverse frango?
A lucky goal.
No, a reverse rocket.
Lucky
It's
goal.
not a rocket shot.
Oh, a reverse rocket.
Didn't it take a deflection?
Yeah, it did. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, if it took a deflection, I mean, there's nothing a guy can do there.
It's a goal.
was
I'll
so
take it.
slow.
You know what? If
All
he
right.
scores
Yeah,
those
well,
every
Pizzy took it
game,
too.
I'd love it.
I just felt bad for Casio. Their defense and their goalkeeper did decent as well, and they kept out a lot of shots. And the corner to Diaz header, I couldn't blame the goalkeeper for that one. It was a really good shot from Diaz. And then Raul scored for all the haters as well, just to cap it off.
All right. So I'll go and talk. But by the way, I'm still coughing sometimes, so it might happen while I'm, giving my opinion. So just don't fret about that. Anyway, I would agree with you guys mostly. Thought the first half wasn't that good, but at the end of the day, though, it wasn't like it was terrible first half, and Rio only played for 10 minutes, which is really surprising because they get the goal from what I believe is a whole defensive mistake. I mean, of course, people are going to blame Bruno Varela, and I can get it, but I won't give him the majority of the blame or even half of the blame, because I think it's one of those where you can't really call it a frank. Yeah, it could have reached it, maybe. Yeah, probably. But it's not one of those plays where you're like, oh, he should have gotten to it, So,
that's not the one
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. I know.
Okay,
I'm not telling you. I'm not
You're
saying
just bringing that up as well. Okay.
Yeah. I was just bringing up the play. I think Ruben Diaz went down really soft, and you can't let that happen. It was against Lille, but if it was against a much better team, maybe that would have cost you. And PG and Salvi just let Gerald just run past them like they didn't even make an effort on the play. So I thought it was a whole defensive mistake. But anyway, right after that, they have another shot. Really far away, but it was a great shot. The ball hits the post, but then that was it. Rio didn't have any more shots the whole game. So, as you guys said, Zivkovic did a good job. I think mostly he did better because he's been with the team since day one, and he's actually had games under his belt. So obviously the chemistry is going to be there, and like with João, because it was basically his first start for Benfica. So, that's why I think Zivkovic was better too. Just something else I want to point out that you guys missed out on was that Salvi got hurt. I mean, I'm not really sure how he got hurt, but he got hurt. So I just want to point that out.
Oh, yeah. Maz was like crying on Twitter. Sorry, Maz. I
was slightly happy with it, and at the same time not. Like, I don't know how to deal with this because this is like the only way to get him out of the lineup, which is actually good. But it sucks that he's hurt. So you're just kind of like...
That's what so many people said. Oh my gosh.
Right? He's not that horrible though. He's a decent player.
No, he's
right?
not. But there's games where he's got to be benched and he's not benched, and that's why it's frustrating. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad player. No, he's a good player, but everybody has bad games, and when you have a good bench with good depth, especially on the wings, you should be able to rotate that, and that doesn't happen with Benfica because Salvio is some kind of god that can't be subbed off. That's the thing. But anyway, moving on to the penalty as you talked about, I honestly think it could go either way. I'm not upset that it wasn't a penalty, but there's clear contact. But at the same time, he's trying to retract his hands, so I mean, I don't know what he can really do there. So.
Peter, let me get this something straight. 2 weeks ago, I heard you on the podcast saying that the Moreirense Porto game, there was no penalty called. The guy gets punched straight to the face, and you say that's not a penalty. It was a ridiculous call to a penalty. Oh, that's what you said.
I was there. I don't even remember if I was on the podcast. Okay, so sorry.
Peter,
you were.
That's a lie.
I was on that one. Okay, that's fine.
So now you're saying that's a penalty. Every person said it was not a penalty.
No, I'm not.
Every person said it was not a penalty.
I'm saying he could have called it, and I wouldn't be surprised.
No, he couldn't have called it. You know what he could have called? This is what he could have called. He could have gave.
It's not a
dive. There's a nice yellow card.
That's not a dive.
No,
that's not a dive.
Actually, the in terms of cards, there should have been a red card near the last 15 minutes when. I'm trying to remember if it was Rafa or who the hell it was. Someone got a breakaway and they got fouled.
It was Rafa, yeah.
Blatantly fouled, and he tried to keep the play going, and it was gone. And they just Yeah, they called nothing.
And then the goalie took it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that was a joke. That
Yeah,
was
but
the one bad call in the
time out. That's when
two,
you got to blame that on. You got to put that one on Rafa because he should have just went down.
No,
If he
no. I mean,
continued,
Bruno, listen. But the referee didn't play advantage. The referee waited for the result of the play. Like, he didn't even raise his arms. If he would have raised his arm, he could have said, "Oh, he played advantage, so he couldn't call it back." But he didn't do that.
Yeah, because Rafa.
Yeah, but if he called it, you can't give him a red card on an advantage.
No, but he did.
Either you're gonna give him a red card right away, or you're not gonna give him at all.
No, which I agree. But basically, he got last man on the ball, got fouled. He tried to keep running, and the goalie came out and got the ball. And it was like, well,
so he didn't even get the advantage.
He didn't really get the advantage.
Get the ball back.
It'd be one thing if you got like fouled, but he stayed on his feet and then kept control of the ball, and then had a full play at it. But it was the guy got fouled, the ball ended up getting lost. I don't know. It is.
Yeah, he's just trying to see if he can catch up with it.
I didn't.
No, but that's a
mistake. At that point,
too.
I didn't really care. I didn't really care because we were well in the lead. The game was over at that point. But outside of that, the ref wasn't bad at all. It just.
I mean, there's also.
Any of you three want to comment on the? Any of you three want to comment on the Jonas not getting a direct red from behind?
Of course, what play?
The one to tackle from behind, where he didn't even get a. I think he just got called a foul. That was it.
He got a yellow. No, he got a yellow.
I'm not sure if he got a yellow.
He got a yellow.
He was supposed to get a red.
I remember he got a yellow. He got a yellow.
That's a straight red.
Well, Bruntel should have also been sent off straight away, so he didn't get 50-50.
Who?
One for one for the other. The right back or left back for Riwav who just
Bruntel's?
Yeah, on Andre Almeida.
No, that's a yellow card. It's a yellow. Not a red.
Be that as it may, on the second foul, on the second offense, should have been sent off. So 2 yellow cards, and he wasn't sent off. So
if we're talking about that, then Jonas should have got the yellow for the dive, and then he got another yellow. He should have been off.
He didn't dive. But there's contact. How can you see there's?
He falls. É o vento. Deve ser do vento estoril.
All right. Well,
hey, that stuff is strong.
You know what? I'm just gonna say that I was against the referee's decision on the Sporting game on the Hernani quote unquote dive. So at least I'm pretty much consistent with that. But all right, you know what? Let's move on because I think we pretty much just discussed the game pretty nicely. So.
Então, e a minha opinião do conta?
Sorry, go ahead. You haven't been on for 2 weeks. A person gets forgetful.
The one thing I want to say is Riwa started off very strong. They have some very interesting players. That João Novaes plays very well. And let me tell you something. If he hit that, instead of the ball hitting the post, if that ball went in, you guys would have a completely different conversation right now.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I agree.
Riwa, I mean, yeah, Benfica came out strong in the second half, and Riwa, I think this is where the coach needs to grow a little bit, where, all right, we got the 1-0 lead, let's kind of sit back and let's counterattack. No, he tried to still play open and eye-to-eye with Benfica, and he got screwed at the end. And
they defended terribly.
Well, remember the game before they gave up 3. No, they gave up 4 goals from Portimonense. Yeah. So this guy has been. Listen. He plays wide open with every team. He plays eye to eye. He has a big 3 mentality, but he's at Rio. He kind of forgets that he doesn't have the resources to play like a big 3.
Can I just say one thing though, and I just want to point out where I think if you play that way, at least create some sort of danger, and that didn't happen throughout the rest of the game. So I mean, you could say that it was good that he played open, but at least he didn't, go.
Yeah, but then you have to also.
He didn't create anything. They didn't create anything. And,
yeah, but then you have to give credit to your defense, no?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine, but. Surprised that you do that.
No, I'll add this much. So I do think Benfica's defense was sleeping early on, and it's been a bit of a piss off on my side, where sometimes they don't take these sides as seriously as they should, and that's part of the reason why we conceded a goal was that they weren't tracking back, they weren't covering as much. I think conceding that goal, the defense woke up, and that's when it got a little bit more tighter. But yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on now to the Porto Braga game. Slightly more interesting, maybe. Anyway, I'll give you the lineup since Bruno's driving. So it was José in goal, Ricardo Pereira, Felipe, Diego Reis, and Alex Telles across the back, Corona and Brahimi on the wings with Herrera and Sergio Oliveira in the midfield, Abubakar and Marega up front. Bruno, obviously. What did you think about the game?
I mean, it was a very, very well played game, I think, by both teams. Braga, completely different style of play versus other teams that we know.
Quit it.
They started. They started Raul Silva in the back, and guess who scored for Braga on a set piece? Raul Silva.
That guy is not a very good defender.
Listen, he can't do everything on his own. Rosic, Buraco. You know, and I think Gaio and Jefferson didn't have the strongest games, and not to mention that they were playing against a very motivated Porto team. I think hands down back line, Porto pretty much shut them down. They really didn't create a lot of opportunities to score, other than two, which Zessa made some very big saves. The goal was a freaking chorizo. That's basically what it was. I mean, it was a pick play in the box, and the guy heel kicks it, and he scores. Other than that, Braga didn't really have a lot of clear-cut opportunities. But I will say that Jessa played very, very well. Backline, I thought, played very solid defensively. They didn't give a lot of space to the forwards. Paulinho was getting very frustrated that he wasn't getting the space that he normally gets against the smaller clubs. So, you know, I think Braga was overwhelmed. That's basically what it is. The one thing I got to say, you know, I've been a very big critic in the past of Herrera. Herrera played a very good game as a center defensive mid. He won a lot of balls, and he did a good job in building from the six. Sergio Oliveira had a superb game. Man of the match. Well, arguably man of the match. Because I do have to say that Alex Telles had a hat trick. And a hat trick in terms of assists. And when you get a hat trick in terms of assists, you know, you have to respect that. And the guy's been in superb form. He had another very good game today. Sergio Oliveira had another very good game today. He had an assist on the goal today. Sergio Oliveira has been looking very strong, tactically and technically. Very, very good player. Transition, in my opinion, strongest in the league. Hands down, he proved it again today. He's the strongest transition player in the league. Corona, I thought, was a little but Brahimi was very marked. He did a good job freeing himself up. Marega was just completely off, and I said this on the Three Tukas podcast the other day. Marega, just in big games, he doesn't show up. In terms of, is he efficient? No. Is he practical? Yeah, because he demands a lot of attention. And then Abubakar finally got to score, and I think overall Porto had a very, very good game, and it carried over to today, because today we had a very good game, and unfortunately we only had one goal to show for it.
Yeah. Okay. Before I let everybody else give their opinion on the game, I want to ask you something. When are we going to admit that coaching is everything, you know, when it comes to somebody like Herrera? Because we all know that Herrera was at least good for Mexico. Like, when we watched them, at least most of the people would, you know, consensually say, where's this Herrera at Porto? And this year he's been quite good. And even Sergio Oliveira, which I'm not the biggest fan of, has been good. When are we going to finally say that coaching has everything to do with this, and it's because of the coach that the player's playing so well?
I would have to agree with that, and I'm going to explain to you what the difference is. The difference is from other years to this year is that Herrera is only allowed to touch the ball no more than 3 times. He's not allowed to carry the ball, you know, a certain amount of yards ahead. He needs to get the ball, receive the ball, and get rid of it immediately. That's the biggest difference. Versus Paul Fonseca, Lopetegui, who was the other guy that was there? Nuno. He had the ability to carry the ball 4, 5, 6 touches and he let the defenses reorganize, and then he would finally make a pass. He doesn't do that now. He plays very, very aggressive, and he plays very practical. He's very direct, and Sergio Conceição has everything to do with that. Same thing with Sergio Oliveira. I think he always played the same way. He's not anything different. The difference is that the system is fitting him, and Sergio Conceição knows how to play him, and he does a fantastic job in transition.
Yeah. By the way, just watching the replay of the goal, and it was a really good cross. It's a really good cross on this game against Sporting. Anyway, Mario, why don't you? I don't know if you watched this game. I assume you did because
yes.
Cynthia normally does. So, what did you guys think?
I watched it.
Are you talking to us?
No, it's you, Bruno. No, I'm talking to Mario. Yeah, no, you, Bruno.
Oh, no, I'm going
to go back to the airport.
Yeah, no, we weren't able to actually watch this game.
That's a surprise. That's a surprise.
Yeah, no.
I know. Normally we do.
Only thing I'll say, I don't think Conceição deserves any credit for Herrera. I deserve credit. I met up with him in Portugal in May. Let him know
he
how
shook
much
his hand. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, I had a chat with him.
I remember.
I just came back from winning the Tetra, and he's like, I gotta figure out life and change my approach. And I think that's what the guy did.
So full of shit.
The guy went and retooled, and maybe I shouldn't even talk to him at the Disney store when we met up with his children, and maybe his kid's like, "Daddy, who's this amazing man that you seem to look up to?" And I don't know. Either way, his ego's a little bit more in check, and maybe that's what's helping him out. But yeah, that's about my only commentary I can add on that.
Yeah, it's all Mario. Step aside, Conceição. Oh my god.
All right. So I guess I'll weigh in a little bit on the game. To be honest, I heard the first half, and I watched the second, and I thought it was pretty much what Bruno said. It was a bit of Porto dominating game. There was one chance where I did scream goal. Like, I can't lie and say I didn't. Was when Jessá made that brilliant save. I think it was Paulinho that headed the ball, and I thought that ball was going in, and he made a great save coming out. But it was really what Bruno said. Porto dominated the game. I didn't think Braga created enough chances to be upset with the result. And maybe one less goal, maybe one more goal there, but it would always be a Porto win. So fair result to them, and they leapfrog Sporting back to number 1. So good on them, I guess.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
O Sporting foi com o vento.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get to that game now, and there's no staff here to defend themselves. So
wait, 1 second before we move to making fun of the Sporting fiasco. I just want to add this one point on Braga's side. I think their president, and they're talking a high game like they're going to compete for the Liga. It's clearly done now for them. On a positive for Portugal, I think they're going to just focus on Europa going forward. And I'm hoping they can actually go on a deep run there, because we need those coefficient points. And I think they actually have an extremely talented team this year. I think this is probably one of the better Bragas in recent years. And I'm hoping this loss of Porto just gets it out of their head that they're not going to be in the top 2. They're not going to get a Champions League spot, and just try to at least do something in Europa, which would be nice for the country.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need those coefficient points.
Yeah.
Where Portugal is hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, Benfica didn't help either, so we
need exactly.
Points
that's why.
Shit the bed on that one.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm sorry to Mario to cut you off, but you know what? It's not only Benfica. Benfica had one year that was bad. Okay, Porto's had their bad years in the past. Sporting has had their bad years in the past. It's the problem with teams like Nacional, Guimarães, Estoril, etc. They lose to those teams from the Eastern Europe, where you should be beating them, and they lose to them. And it's like, come on, man. I'm like, we're supposed to be a league that's supposed to be the 6th strongest in Europe, and we lose to teams from those areas. That's just
Norway, Denmark,
Holland. I mean, we're talking about mid-table teams. We're not talking about a Feyenoord or Ajax or
PSV.
We're not talking about those teams. We're talking about mid-table teams in those from those countries, and that's unacceptable.
Exactly, and that's what we need. Like, we have the big 3, they get the points, and they rotate between Sporting, Porto, and Benfica. They each have a bad year here and there, but on average, they get good points for the country. it's part of what helped us get 3 slots for the Champions League was the fact that Braga went to the Europa League final. They had a couple of years where they're a bit more competitive. If you have 4 clubs that can do it, it helps make up for when one of them drops off, and it gets you. But when Guimarães, Braga, and all these other ones, Marítimo, are getting knocked out before even the group stage happens, or they're coming last in the group stage, then we get nothing out of it. And that's when we get stuck with these 2 spots in Champions League. And with the UEFA tinkering around with the system again, it's even harder than ever now to fucking get coefficient points going forward, because we're only going to get 1 team, I think, seeded now, and you have to play 2 playoffs, and the top 4 leagues now get.
Yeah, the second.
That's not
team...
happening. No, this year. Not happening this year though.
No, it's next year. I think that's next season. I believe is when they are now going to do 4 teams go right into the group stage from the top 4 leagues. I think it is, or the 3 teams. They're getting more teams than ever for the top 4 leagues now. Is how they changed it. And it means there's an extra playoff before the group stage for all the other countries.
Well, you just drop down a spot. That's all. Instead of playing 3rd qualifying round or whatever it is, you're now playing 2nd and 3rd. So by the way, your preseason starts even earlier now.
Exactly, and the risk of matching up with a Marseille and that spot, or a team that's going to be a competitive team. They're going to fight, and the team's just having a shitty run because it's August and you're not clicking yet. Increase, or the worst one is when you run into a Russian team or these Eastern European teams that have started and they've been playing like a summer season almost, where they're firing on all cylinders, and also they run into a team that just started their preseason. I don't know, it's gonna be a little ugly, and I'm just hoping we can get back to having 3 teams. But even if you get 3 teams, I think under the new system, it's still only 1 in the group stage now. It's not 2 how it used to be. I think the new system really favors the top 4 more than ever.
Yeah. It definitely does.
All right, so that was actually pretty good. A little bit off topic, but that was good actually. So well done, Marty. All right, so let's get on now to the Sporting Bash, which I think everybody's been waiting for. And I don't even know if Steph would have defended Sporting, but anyway, I'll give you the lineup first before we talk about the game. So
I can defend them a little bit. I can defend them a little bit in this one.
Just a little bit,
okay. Sure.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Rui Patricio in goal, Piccini, Coates, Matthew, and Quentin across the back, William Carvalho and Bataglia in the midfield alongside Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Cesar and Acunha on the wings with Dumbia up front. And let's start with the person that wants to defend Sporting. Bruno, go ahead. What do you think about this game?
Listen, we have to sit here and we have to give a lot of credit to Estoril. I said I've actually picked earlier in the year when I was on 3 Tugas, I picked them to be one of the teams that potentially could drop, a heavy favorite to drop in the 2nd division, because their roster was so bad. They sold a lot of key players. They didn't get anybody that could replace them. That was, I wouldn't say of quality, but of enough experience. They got that guy Lucas Evangelista, who was a pretty interesting player, but he had nobody to play with. So I think in this game, Sporting was definitely underestimated them. Number 1, I don't think Jorge Jesus really said, they're good, or anything like that. I think he just thought that no matter what, we're just going to win this game and we're just going to pound on them, and that didn't happen. I thought that Sporting played a very good game. I'm sorry, not a very good game. I thought they played. They played decently. They created chances to score, but the difference was when they gave up those 2 goals in 3 minutes, that's what floored them. And then on top of that, you were missing clear opportunities to score. I mean, there was the Bruno Cesar miss, which I don't even know how that ball went through his legs on the tap in. I mean,
it was so fun watching this game.
That was one. The second one was, wasn't it Montero that he kicked the ball he shot the ball at a guy's chest, a defender's chest, when the goalkeeper was out of the goal?
Freddie, I think so.
Yeah, Freddie Montero.
He was.
Yeah.
Okay, he was another one that completely missed target. I mean, you can't coach that. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not coaching. That's just And you know what? And I think Cableta went to go after Freddie Montero to try to see if he can score some goals. And this guy is clearly in preseason form. You're up against guys that are in midseason form. That to me, that's very difficult to now chase after. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're chasing results, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
And you're talking about a guy that gets 15 goals a season, and which is
Montero.
And I'm talking 32 games, 32 to 34 games, 15 goals. That's best. He's not per se a goal machine. He's not Bastos. Not even
Peter. You guys do agree that this guy is not. I mean, he's in preseason form.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying I'm adding to your point with the fact that he's in preseason form and he's not even known to be an extremely efficient player.
I see what you're saying. You know, and then like I mean, the best player for Sporting hands down was Fabio Quintero. I thought he was the only one that showed some type of raza. Hard raza to try to win the game. I thought William Carvalho. Listen, he was one of those guys that unfortunately he was on his bad day. For Sporting, he was on his bad day. He nothing was working out for the guy. He couldn't pass balls. It just wasn't the same guy. Maybe he should have been a candidate to get off the field, and he Cableta decided to keep him on, which was good for us. And then there was the back line. I some of those guys looked a little tired. I was kind of debating a little bit with Mikey on the 3-2 Guys podcast about Pacini. Pacini, he said he looked fresh. I said he looked off. A lot of his crosses just didn't look like they were so accurate, and he was saying something along the lines like, "Well, that guy, it was the guys on the other end." I'll debate it a little bit. I don't think it was the guys on the other end. I would think it really was that it just, he just looked a little off on his crosses. I think he's had better performance in the past. Another guy that I think in the midfield, Bruno Fernandes looked like, I kind of felt bad for a guy like that because the poor guy is trying all by himself. Basically, he had no help.
Yeah.
In the middle. You don't have Jelson, you don't have Bas Dost. That's two major losses for any team. You're going to struggle, and by the way, again, going back to Estoril, I mean, they were passing, they were stringing 3, 4, 5 combination passes. They were making Sporting looks pretty silly at some points in the game. And Sporting really didn't have didn't have much of an answer, and I think they did look a little tired. But again, this is where I think that coaching, there's no need of having certain guys completely tired, exhausted, and then you have other ones that are super fresh because they just have not been utilized. I just don't understand that. That's just not. I just don't understand that concept in terms of coaching.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback off you, and I'm going to start off by saying that I think you completely forgot one player, which I thought was, key in certain parts of the season for Sporting, and that was Acuna, which I believe is the Sporting's most exhausted player at this point, where, he's handling the 90 minutes, but he's not playing well a minute of it, so he's basically useless on the field. And he used to be a big part of their attack, not just by his ability to shoot, but his crosses are actually really good, and you're lacking that too. And obviously, he started off really well because he comes from the season in Argentina, and obviously he's played like 1.5 seasons at this point, so that's why he's tired. I don't know if Jorge did underestimate Estoril, then that's just ridiculous on his part because he should have watched the game against Porto, and we don't know how that game is going to end. But Estoril were having a good game. Obviously, like you said, with Sporting, Porto were also getting their chances, but they weren't capitalizing on them. So they're obviously a difficult team, and I'm worried when Benfica is going to go there because they've been playing well. I thought straight off the bat, like the first 5 to 10 minutes, that Estoril could have easily scored 2 goals because of the wind too, because of the way that they were crossing the corners. Rui Patricio had to make a goal line save. And I think Estoril could have gotten more goals throughout the game too. So it wasn't even like Sporting were getting chances, but Estoril was too. And I thought that just Sporting were very much like the same that they were against Guimarães. Like I said with the Guimarães game, that they didn't have any answer. That they always play the same style, even without Paz Dost, and you can't do that. And I also want to agree with you again, because I did say to my dad, like, I don't understand why he's subbing off Fábio Coentrão, which I believe to me was man of the match against Guimarães, because he's the dude works his ass off through the 90 minutes. Maybe he's not the greatest, but at least he's always working hard. And I don't understand why he kept someone like Acuna in when he could have subbed him off and kept Coentrão in. That's also my opinion. And I think that's it. That's all I want to say about the game. So I'm gonna ask Mario if he has anything else to add.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna echo you guys. So I don't want to repeat too much of it. I think they both had additional chances to score, but Israel clearly deserved the win. They could have scored more goals. I think they had about 5 reinforcements this transfer window. I think they've done really well in the transfer window to turn this team around. So I think the team in the second half of the window is going to be a lot stronger now for the season. With that talent, they should be able to, not only they got out of the relegation zone, but they should stay out of it with the way they're playing. I would say this is kind of typical of Jorge Jesus, where he does tend to run players a little too hard and a bit too long for his favorite squads they line up. And I think Sporting, and even saw today, they had the Taça game. They got Europa League coming up. This could really be a point of the season where the wheels come off, where they're starting to drop points, starting to lose games, and if, it's I don't know. I selfishly, come on, it's not the team I cheer for. It's a rival team, so I'm going to take some joy out of it. That they're potentially going to be out of the title race. They're still in there clearly, and they're still going to be quite competitive. But when he starts suffering back-to-back losses, and you're having commotion happening off the field also with the club, it does start feeding in. So they got to really turn this thing around quickly, or else you could see a greater collapse, which would be nice. I'd gladly take that. Yeah, it's all about Ella out there. And yeah.
All right, Cynthia.
So we missed the first half because we were out with the kids. So I watched the highlights of that. I did notice...
That's unacceptable, by the way.
I know, I'm sorry. Life happens, and then, again, not my team, so I'm not going to prioritize my life around sporting games.
The priority should be Tiki Taka Podcast.
There it is.
I will say that once I saw on my phone they're losing 2-0, we rushed our asses to get home. We cannot miss this gong show. Some shit's going down, and we cannot.
It's not even a lie. He drove like a maniac down our street.
I'm like, Cynthia,
and he's like, "Get the kids. I'll get the kids.
Get the kids. We're done. We're going home. We'll do groceries later. We don't have time for Bed Bath and Beyond today. We gotta watch this shit. This is gonna be glorious."
Unbelievable.
No. And then we're there, and both teams have a goal VAR'd, right? So it's brought back, and we're sitting there. We're like, "Oh my god!" And like the VAR happens, we're like, "Oh, okay."
Actually,
watch the
hold
VAR.
on a second. Time out. Yeah. There was actually one. It's actually 3 goals. 3 goals. The first goal.
The second half?
No. There's one in the first half. There's one in the first half, right?
The one in the first half.
I was going to touch that after.
The second studio goal. The second studio goal. The second studio goal was the one that they called it offside, and then they rectified it. And they called it onside.
No, they didn't call it. You can't say they called offside because he blew the whistle after the ball went in. So but the original call was that he was offside. He let it play on. Yes.
But then they confirmed it that he was actually onside. Mm-hmm. The one thing I do want to say about the VAR before I forget is this is what the VAR should be doing every single game, regardless who's playing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is not the case, because I did a comparison on the other podcast, because if you guys watched the Ferenc Chaves game, that's shocking. What the VAR did.
I don't know if you guys penalties.
The Boavista one, right?
No. Not the Boavista game.
Boavista was the flag.
The Boavista game was the flag. Yeah, he's talking about one that has penalties involved, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah.
No, it's not a penalty. It's actually Ferenc and Chaves were tied 1-1 with 92 minutes in the 92nd minute or something like that, and Chaves scores a goal in which they allowed it to. All right, let me see if I got this straight. He scored the goal.
Are you talking about the
He
Matheus Pereira
is in
goal?
yes, he's in offside position. He's in offside position. They called him. He's supposed to be offside because in reality he was offside, and they reversed the call. So they had the call correct. They actually called him offside first. They let the play go, and then they called him offside, and then they reviewed it, and they reversed it to the wrong decision, which was they allowed the goal.
Well, I thought it was on. I gotta watch the play again, but I thought it was onside when I saw it.
There's one specific screenshot that he is completely offside. His 2 feet are completely offside.
I might be thinking about the wrong play, but I thought it was onside. But
he wasn't.
I might be thinking about Matheus Pereira. I believe he was onside, but maybe I looked at it wrong. I just didn't pay enough attention. But I'm not surprised if that happened.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, Peter. The guy, you made the right call, and then you reverse the VAR reverses to the wrong call.
But you reverse it. You reversed it, and in those situations, and in those situations, I blame the referee because if the VAR is telling you one thing and your assistant said another thing, you just go ahead and you check the images. What's wrong with that? Just check the image. You're deciding a game.
I see what you're saying.
The
yes,
game, right? So of course, you can blame the VAR for saying he's not offside when he's actually offside. But come on, man! It's the 92nd minute. Nobody's gonna care. Go ahead and watch the tape and see what you think. Don't get the call wrong.
That I agree with you 1,000,000,000%. That if you're looking at it in that perspective, absolutely, and I do agree with that. So.
But you also got to blame
again.
The
VAR.
Blame the VAR though, obviously, because if you got the wrong call, then you also got to blame him too. But the referee also gets to blame too.
This is But again, I do want to say Manuel Mota did a superb job in the officiating on Sunday. He did a great job, and we criticized. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Manuel Mota.
Manuel Mota. Mario, you have any uncles named Manuel?
Oh yeah, there we go.
So I come on here and I bash the referees a lot, but I also give him credit when it's due. And my God, this guy deserves a lot of credit for what he did.
I think he's actually one of the better referees when he's not, going over the sporting pressure of them vandalizing everything that he owns. I actually think he's quite a decent referee. Yeah. I think he's actually quite a decent referee. Yeah, exactly.
But remember, ele é um padre dos emails. Não te esqueças.
You just said he was nice. He
had a good game. So just
because I had to throw that in there, Cynthia. Cynthia, I had to throw that in there because of Peter. Peter said that when he doesn't have the Sporting influence, but when he also has the Benfica influences, he also makes a lot of bad decisions.
Well, he could also have.
Let's not forget that.
I said
it is what it is. No. I think most of the referees would actually be good if they didn't have everyone on their back. But I think Manuel Mota is one of the few that I actually think is good. But it is what it is.
The only thing I want to cut in, do you mind if I just cut in real quickly on the VAR side is, and part of the big issue that's what the G15 is trying to hopefully fix and will be fixed is the fact that they don't have the full amount of cameras for the other games, which is total bullshit. Well, yeah, no, but that's the Boa Vista is a prime example. But even this one, the more angles you have, the easier it is to make the gut call. And that's a huge joke that the league did what they did and how they organized it for this season. But either way, I think it's a move in the right direction. There's been a shitload of calls throughout the season for all the sides that have been either called in favor or against. That it's helped. It has helped. It has improved. It's not perfect, but once they add the more cameras for the other teams, it'll balance it out even more, make it a little bit more fair, because at the end of the day, you don't want to kill a smaller club's momentum because that impacts it into other games also.
But by the way, Mario, the one thing I will say about this, because a lot of people don't talk about this at all, is that most I think the relegation or the regulation for the cameras, the amount of cameras that have to be in the stadium. I mean, the more modern stadiums in Portugal have to be 22.
Yeah.
The other stadiums, I think, is supposed to be 15 cameras.
Oh, so that's why they call it all 22. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
No. I heard it was less quality for the other ones. Also, I had heard that before. Also, it's something like where it's not the same definition of it.
No, well, there is a league minimum of the amount of cameras that they have to be in a game. It doesn't matter if it's at Estoril, Moreirense, Tondela,
I don't know.
or
I don't know the
Estádio
number.
Dragão.
I don't know the number.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw out this number. I could be completely wrong, but I'm gonna say the minimum is 15 cameras.
Yeah, okay.
For the modern,
but
okay. So all right. So let's just say there's 15 cameras, or supposed to have 15 cameras. They're showing up to games with 5. That's completely against what the protocol has said. What all clubs agreed on. You can't have 5 cameras in a game because you're not going to get the angles, like Mario just said.
All right,
it's just impossible.
Question: Do you blame the league or do you blame the Federação? Because don't forget that the Federação is the one sponsoring everything and they're paying for the VAR. So who you're going to blame?
I think you blame both. No, I think it's both.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking generally.
You blame both, and you put whoever the referee association is, obviously, and plus Federação and the league itself, they should be in charge of all the camera work, bringing the equipment. Yeah, use the existing infrastructure. And obviously, stadiums like Luge, the Go, and all the other stadiums will have more modern facilities how to connect it. But even for the smaller clubs, they just get there an extra half hour in advance. They bring the equipment. It's their responsibility to do it. It shouldn't be on the clubs because the small clubs with no financing won't be able to supply that. It's going to be shit quality.
Well, if they can't have nice grass, how the fuck are they going to get
exactly. But it should be on the Liga.
The cameras are on Sport TV though. Like Sport TV has the cameras though.
No, but I remember this is going back years ago. This is when Beta Mater was in the first division. This is like years ago, and Rui was literally on a trip to Portugal. And I was at the Beta Mater stadium before they're facing Guimarães. Like this hours
which one?
Before the
Mário Duarte or the Municipal de Aveiro?
No,
he's probably talking about the
Municipal Aveiro, the newer one for the Euros. And,
the newer one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were there we didn't see the game there. We were just kind of passing.
No, we were hours before the game. I think it was
this is well hours. But I went to the stadium. I ended up talking with the directors there, and he took me around, which was quite nice. And he was sure this hours before the game, and you see the Sport TV people setting up the camera, setting up everything. It's not regular cameras that are there stationary. So there's no excuse why the league itself, whoever's responsible for VAR, it's all planning. Just show up 5 hours, 6 hours, or however much time you need beforehand, and set up the goddamn cameras. And it's I don't know. I think maybe it's different factions.
Budget cuts. It's budget cuts. They can't allow that.
No,
I agree.
And I know this.
Exactly.
It's going to go into the big three, but Benfica Sport and Porto have money. Just charge a little extra to the big three. It's not going to cost that much to get the whole system running. Then it's just maintenance.
Mm-hmm. I do want to point out another thing with VAR before we move on to the Taça game, that at least there's one interesting thing that Sport TV is doing now, and it kind of sucks that most of you don't have it, where on Mondays now they're going to have the actual VAR system in place at their own headquarters, and they're going to review every play.
They were just doing it after the Taça game.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yes, they were. So that's also interesting. And at least we're going to get some kind of insight to what cameras are missing, and what kind of angles the.
Yeah.
Who said
exactly?
Who said that we don't have? Who said that we don't have access to that?
Peter did.
Do we have access to that?
No. Who says that we don't have access to Sport TV?
Peter did.
Oh, me, I did. I don't know if most of you. I remember people complaining, because of
Fubo
Gold TV and all that. So I assumed that. Yeah. So I assumed.
No. I got a bootleg box. I'm good. I got it all now.
Okay, you guys. Hold on. So you guys have it, but I know a lot of people that don't. That's why I said it, because I know a lot of people complaining with Gold TV or the all the other things. So that's why I said it, bro. Not So that's why.
Oh, Peter, não tratas as toscão.
Oh, dude, it's been running for 3 weeks now. It's crazy. It's been 3 weeks, and I don't know what's up with it, bro. It sucks.
Go to the doctor.
Gripe das aves.
Exactly. Totally. I'm not going to take that as an offense if that's what you wanted me to. Just kidding. Anyway, so let's move on.
I know you would not get offended to something like that.
Good. You're smart then. All right, so let's move on to the Porto Sporting game. So again, I'll give you the lineups. I'll let Bruno go first, and then we'll go on from that. But anyway, I'll give you both teams' lineups. So first of all, Porto, they had Casillas in goal. That was basically one of the only changes. Ricardo Pereira, Diego Reis, Felipe, and Alex Telles across the back. Corona, Herrera, Sérgio Oliveira, and Brahimi. Marega and Tiquinho Soares up front. So I believe the only change was Soares and Casillas. And for Sporting,
from the last game,
good. So Sporting had a completely different lineup. They played on a 3-5-2 formation, kind of like it. Anyway, it was Rui Patrício in goal, Piccini playing at right center back, Coates playing it in the middle, and Matthew as the left center back. Then they had Coentrão and Ristovski as the wing backs, Bataglia, Bruno Fernandes, Gelson Martins and Acunha in the midfield with Doumbia up front. Obviously, Bruno, the Portista, I'll let you go first. What did you think about this game?
I think this game was very similar to the other two games that Porto and Sporting played. Porto completely outclassed Sporting in this particular game. Sporting really didn't have a lot of opportunities. Casillas had one good save on a Ristovski shot that I could remember. There was a lot of scrambling in front of the box and in the box, but I mean nothing where you can say, "Oh, it was a shot on goal." Porto completely outplayed Sporting. The problem is we just we were able to bury a goal kind of late in the game, but I think it's still a little short. I think they should have gotten at least another goal to have a good shot at going through. Again, probably man of the match in this one, Sergio Oliveira. What a game he played today. Fantastic game. I thought Fleet played very well. Alex Telles played well. The two wings back played well. Reyes played pretty decent. Herrera as a center defensive mid. I mean, everyone talked about Danilo going down, and I always said that if Porto loses Danilo due to injury, he's not going to be the guy that's going to be missed the most. I think the guy that would be missed the most without question is Brahimi. Brahimi was very, very marked. You do that to Brahimi, and you put a guy like Sergio Oliveira in the game, he's going to kill you. And that's exactly what he did every time he got the ball. His job is simple. Trap the ball and get rid of it. Trap the ball and get rid of it. And he usually gets rid of it where he changes the point of attack. Always switching the fields, always getting the ball wide open and put the ball into space to someone that can run onto it with speed. And Sporting had a lot of trouble. Sporting's left wing, doesn't matter if it was Acunha or Coentrão, had a horrible game. They just could not contain Porto. Corona had he finally showed up after 10 games. This is his usual, so he'll be available sometime maybe next month, because don't even bother playing him for the next couple of games because it was just worthless.
I didn't think it was that good, but it is what it is.
No, I mean he did a lot of very good things. He was able to receive the ball and get by defenders very quickly, and push the ball up the field. That's the one thing you want. I mean, and you try to get some crosses, but he just doesn't cross because I just don't think he's strong enough. He's very good in Mexico. He's a Liga MX player. He's not a player for Europe. And I always ask these guys questions because a lot of them rave. Tell me a really good Mexican player that was successful in Europe, and you're not going to find many. And I don't think that Sporting was again. Sporting looks tired, and I think this loss is going to affect them mentally going forward, because now they play. Who do they play now at home?
They play Feirense.
They're going to play Feirense, but they have a big February.
Feirense. And then they played against whoever they're playing in the Europa League, and then they go out to Tondela. And then they had a tough game against the second leg, and then they play Moreirense at home, and then they play Porto, out for the Liga.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm going to say this about the Feirense game. I think that they're going to struggle with Feirense, but I think they'll win. I think this is a game that they'll bounce back and they'll get the 3 points. But then they go to Astana after that, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing.
Yeah, they're playing away, and It's the kilometers that are going to kill these guys. These guys
The
are
travel.
basically way too
It's
much
going to be the travel
way
because
too
it's
many
6,000
games.
miles.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
that
like the
6,000 miles
furthest
round trip?
point away from Europe. Yeah, it's like the furthest
You're
way.
going to Kazakhstan. It's like the furthest one.
Yeah, and that's still in Europe.
Okay, so you're going 6,000 miles the other way. That, my friend, is you're basically going to be losing. You're not going to train. So you're going to play on a Thursday. You're going to fly out. You're going to fly back. You're basically coming. You're going to recover from the trip.
On Monday, by the way.
Yeah, you're not even going to train. You're probably going to have a day. You're going to have at least one day off. He might even give him two to recover the body, because right now some of these guys are running on empty.
But then that's one day of training, and then they play again, because they play Thursday and then Monday.
Yeah,
and then
Thursday and then Monday and then Friday,
the 22nd. Yeah,
they're kind of fucked, because they play on Sunday, and then they play Thursday, and then they play Monday, then they play Thursday, and then they play Monday, and then they play Friday. And that Friday game is against Porto. So I just want to point that out.
And the Tondela game is the game that I think that's the game that they're gonna. That's it. They're gonna lose. That's the game that I think that's the game that they're gonna drop points. I won't say that they're gonna lose, but they're gonna drop points. They might tie.
Okay.
I don't think they'll win that game.
Okay.
And they're not
even this weekend here, their players are gas. So
with fade ends.
Yeah, they have to. He has to make a decision. Does he take the players that are right now burnt out and clearly burning out and put them on the field and potentially burn them out even further? So he might end up, if he starts rotating players and these guys aren't playing as crisp. Right now at this point, it's you're gonna get in the scenario where every single game now could be potentially drop points for the next month for them, because especially when players are guys now, you're gonna have mistakes made. It's a fun time.
Yeah, and especially with Cunha also out. Let's not forget about that, because he got sent off in this game. So
yes, he did. He got a red.
And then I also want to talk about Porto's schedule, but we'll do that a little bit later. So I just want to ask you a quick question, Bruno, before I let everybody else go. I don't know if they watched the game, but I'll ask them that later. I wasn't listening to JJ, but he popped up on the screen that he said that Porto's goal is off a foul on Bruno Fernandes. So there's a foul before the goal. So I don't know if you want to wait on that. I didn't see anything, but I just want to double check with you in case I'm missing something.
I mean, I didn't see no foul. I mean, obviously they're going to complain about something because nobody likes to lose. The wind could be something. So they're going to complain about something. So it could be a foul. I didn't see no foul. But, I mean, listen, if they want to complain about that, Acuna should have been sent off very early on. We're already with the second yellow. Quintron, same thing. They should have been reduced to 9 guys at least. So
can you imagine what a game that would have been?
Well, I mean, like I said in the beginning, their whole left wing just simply could not handle their team. Porto played very good today.
Mm-hmm. All right, so who watched the game besides Bruno and me? I don't know, Cynthia, did you watch? Did Mario watch?
Half. Remember I told you I had to pick up my son and then I was shoveling.
True. Yeah, I remember that. And Marty, what did Marty watch?
No, I was.
He has a job.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Employment.
I just wanted to make sure so I wouldn't ask him again. So when,
that's all good.
So I wouldn't ask him again. Hey, what'd you think about the game? He's like, yeah, I did watch it. So it's better that I asked.
No, it's all good.
All right, so Cynthia, I'll let you go first, then, and I'll go after.
No, I watched it. I'm not a Porto fan like our buddy Bruno here, and I'm not a sporting fan like Steph. And to be honest, I watch and I want everybody to get injured. I want everybody to get cards. Everything's a foul. Nothing's a foul. You know what I mean? It's like bipolar when I watch because I don't care because it's not my team. But it's always entertaining. I think it's funny afterwards because I did see JJ a little bit when you and I were setting up here, and he likes to just make excuses. And I mean, that stubborn ass old man was like that when he was ours. You know what I mean? He's not changed, and I think it's fantastic that they've paid him up so much money. And I'm just watching this happen. And as much as Steph is always like, you guys got to worry about your own club, I'm like, but you got to worry about yours too, man. I see things happening, and I guess as an outsider, I can see it clearly. I guess love blinds people, but I never loved that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and like Mario said, they've got a packed schedule. So I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of money and not a lot of good results, not a lot of good play, and 6 million on JJ too. Let's not
Wasn't it
forget
8?
about that.
And like
I think
I
it's like
was
6
even
or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a lot of money anyway.
And then I was even having a chat with somebody else. Sorry, guys, and on Twitter, and they were going on that they don't like where this is going either. And I'm like, what are you going to do? Because if he's got a long, I don't know how long the contract lasts.
I think it just got renewed for like an extra 2 years, maybe. So it runs out like 2021, I think. I don't know. Something
That's even better news for us.
I don't know. I'll check.
And I mean, Sporting was known for being the youth team, as much as the rest of us hate it, they had a point when they were like, hey, the National is like majority Sporting. And it was. But JJ, he squashed that with us, and now he's squashing it with them.
Okay,
so
he's up until 2019. 2019. So
that's not long enough. Okay.
All right. So what was Marty going to say?
Yeah, I was going to add one quick thing is for the result, I didn't see the game, but I would think, I know obviously it's a head-to-head. You still got a second match in April, but the clean sheet, especially with these, whether it's Benfica, Porto Sporting, or Sporting Benfica, these games are pretty tight with score lines. And Porto does have a very good advantage now going in to potentially go to the final. For Sporting to win 2-0, given the way they're playing, they got a lot of time to change their format, but I like it just because Porto can't go into the next game too relaxed because it's still a very tight game. So, yeah, that's the only thing I want to add on that side.
All right, so I'm just going to start off by saying that this isn't this. Go ahead, Benoit. What are you going to say?
No, the result is a little short. I do agree. I mean, I was hoping for at least a 2-0, but we got a 1-0. Right. I'll take the 1-0 over a 0-0.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable lead.
On a head-to-head, you always want the clean sheet. But if they had the 2-0, I think this tie would be dead in the water because I just don't think Sporting would be able to come back with 3 goals or penalties in the second half of the leg. So I do feel that Porto have a good advantage, but they can't really rest on it when it's just a 1-0. So I would say neutral. So, watching go for it, buddy.
No, it was just because I wanted to say that this isn't exactly Luís Castro where you can lose 1-0 and then turn it around and win 3-1 at the Luz. And even that game, as I think a lot of Benfica should remember, was a very difficult game, and we pulled a great goal with André Gomes, that saved our ass. So, and we're talking about a team coached by Luís Castro, which obviously isn't the same level of this team, by Sérgio Conceição, and we can't compare the Benfica team to the Sporting team either. So, I think although it is a 1-0 and it's short, if Porto gets 1 goal, then I believe it's done. I don't see Sporting scoring 3 past Sport. I mean, we're talking about a team that's barely conceded more than 2 goals. I mean, one of the few games that I remember was against Portimonense that they conceded 2 goals. So you're talking about a team that knows how to defend. So I don't really see Sporting getting back into it, even with this score. Of course, it's short, but if Porto gets 1 goal at Alvalade, that's it.
You think it's done?
Mm-hmm. I just don't see them getting 3 goals. Well,
they're always wild against the green, right? So,
yeah.
But we have outplayed them. We have outplayed them in every game those far this season.
Yeah, I was also gonna say, when is Sporting gonna show up for the big games? Because they didn't show up at the Alvalade when I vouched for them, and they were the stronger team. I think everybody can agree. Going into that game, they got completely dominated, and they got lucky that they didn't lose that game. They got completely outplayed at the Luz, and again, they were lucky that they were even winning for basically 90 minutes. They got outplayed. I don't want to say they got outplayed on the Taça da Liga game. That one's a little bit of a iffy game. I mean, a game with 50 plus fouls obviously wasn't well played, but it is what it is. And then in this game they got outplayed again. So again, when is Sporting going to show up for the big games? A couple of years ago they were only showing up for the big games, and now they're not even showing up for that. I mean, this is a terrible performance. And again, it's JJ trying to mess up things that he shouldn't mess with. Like, why is he playing a 3-5-2 against Porto? 3-5-2, and plus he loves his center back so much. Why is he playing Piccini as a center back? That makes no sense. I mean,
I think Peter, he was going with the 5-3-2.
Either way, man, that was too defensive. It's way too defensive.
It almost resulted because they got Porto got a late goal.
But Porto
they didn't really attack
more goals. Porto
they could have, but they
just goals. And Sporting got lucky. They had a few chances with as soon as Ruben Ribeiro came in. If it wasn't even for him, and you know one thing that pissed me off was when Freitas was saying you got to commend Sporting for trying and get the tie. I mean, come on, no, because every team that's gonna be losing 1-0 is obviously gonna go for the tie. So I don't understand why we haven't have to praise that. You know, I thought it was a terrible game by Sporting. I thought Porto did enough to win the game. But at the end of the day, it was another game that wasn't really super entertaining. I don't know, these two teams just kind of playing to each other, and it's not really very fun football. But I can't really, say anything else other than it was a very deserving Porto win, and it probably could have been by 1 or 2 more goals, maybe a 3-1 kind of result. So I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to this or not.
I don't have to say anything more. We have to get at least another goal away. We got another goal away, and this game this tie is over. When is the other game? Tomorrow?
What? No, it's like in 2 weeks or something, because people are stupid in Portugal.
Wait a minute. So the other tie is only in 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's something like that.
No. The other tie is in April.
The Portugal Cup game?
No, we're not talking about.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
the second one.
Was it Avgen or was it Avgen or Oliveirense, right?
The Avs is, I think it's either this week or next week. It's either tomorrow or next week. It's here. I'll get it for you. I actually had it on my phone a second ago.
There's nothing tomorrow.
February. Actually, no, you're right. You're right. It's the 28th of February, so it's a while away.
Wow.
3 weeks.
I told you the league is stupid. So
18th of April, they both play at the same time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. All right, so
but it could be because the Porto and Sporting are in Europe. So from a matching standpoint, maybe they put the matches sooner or something like that.
Well, the other two teams don't play. They only play once a week.
I know they should have been at the same day. I agree, but yeah, it's the Portuguese way.
Yeah, that's a potato.
Exactly. That's Portugal for you. All right, so Bruno, I want to talk a little bit, just quickly about Porto's schedule too, because I believe the next couple of games, except maybe for Rio Ave, I think it's games where Porto could drop points almost in every single one of them, because obviously they have to play Rio Ave now. I think now, right? If I'm not mistaken, which is not going to be an easy game. and
it's
they also
never an
have
easy
to play.
Game. It's never an easy game.
They have to play against Portimonense too, and they have to go to Portimão.
It's not an easy game either. That one is probably the hardest game that they're going to have to play. The Portimonense game.
Let me just get Porto's schedule here real quick.
It's on the 25th.
Cynthia, have you seen their results lately?
Yep.
That guy Fabricio is on fire.
Fun fact, of all our scarves, theirs is the weirdest one. It's made out of like towel material. Anyways. I know, it's just weird. Because you're at the beach, right? So they get you the towel.
So here's the next Porto games, all right? So you ready for this, Bruno? Because it's not going to be easy.
Go ahead.
So you play this Sunday against Chaves in Chaves.
Not easy. That's 11 o'clock game, by the way, for the people on the stateside.
Valentine's, you play Liverpool.
Woo. That's a tough game, obviously, because you don't know which Liverpool you're going to get.
Exactly.
And then you play at home against Rio Ave, which,
on the 18th.
It's a home, but, it's not exactly the easiest of games.
No, because we beat them, was it 2-0 away or 2-1? All right.
And then you play Portimonense at Portimão.
That's I'm telling you, that's probably the hardest game. That is the hardest game.
Before you're missing something, Estoril. Estoril, isn't that been moved to
February
21st? The second half.
Yeah,
you have the second half of Estoril, which is with Estoril. Now,
when is that?
That's a game in which.
Does anybody know?
21st.
Why isn't it on their schedule?
That's 4 days before the Portimonense game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's a tough game because of the parameter. You're already losing 1-0.
So Sunday you play Rio Ave in Porto, and then you have to go to the Estoril Stadium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finish up on when? The 20th or 21?
21st.
So Sunday you
21st.
play, and then 3 days later you play Estoril, and then you got to go down to Portimão and play on the 25th.
And then you have to play Sporting on a short week, playing on
Friday.
Friday.
Yes.
So I
that's
mean,
before you guys go out back to Liverpool, right?
Yeah, and then
then
back
we
to
go back to
Liverpool
Liverpool
game
on
too.
the 6th.
Yes,
You
and
guys
then
are
you go
having
back
so
to
much
Liverpool.
fun. Air
And,
Mile.
I think with the way Liverpool's playing, that Porto should have a fair shot, especially since they're playing at home.
Mhm.
Well, things can change from now until then. Again, you don't know what team you're going to get with this Liverpool team.
And not even that, you got to stay focused anyway, right? Even if they're, even if the fans think they got a fair chance, the coach got to keep them grounded. And the players, if they somehow are thinking about the Liverpool game against Shops, they're completely toasted. Because, they're going to play with their best players. They're going to play with Matheus Pereira, and everybody else. So they're going to try and get the result against Porto. And we all know that Shops has a very good team.
And if you're not paying attention, they're going to play.
Shops has, as you all know, Shops has done their damage to Porto in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They
All right.
have a long rivalry.
Jesus Christ. Sorry about the cough.
And by the way, what's his name? Castro is there, and he's not the type of guy that'll be like, "Oh, I'm playing Porto, so whatever." No, he plays
he goes
the way
for it.
He goes for the goal. He goes for the win.
He goes for the jugular.
And by the way, Matheus Pereira is playing against Porto, unlike Matheus Pereira saw his fifth yellow the previous week against another team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we beat them at their house.
It's the wind.
So. Anyway,
well, yeah, you need, and by the way, you know how many minutes you needed for that one?
500.
So you know, you know how many minutes you needed for that one?
92 or something.
96.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Hey, we earned those minutes. We earned those minutes.
I'll check that right now.
There's been a handful of games in which you guys got a good amount of help.
Give me a moment. It was on the 90 plus 2, like I said. Seferovic scored on the 90th plus 2. So there you go, 92nd minute. So don't you start BSing me, bro. But anyway.
You had 6 games this year that went 96 minutes or more.
All right. Who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame Benfica? Go ahead, blame Benfica all you want. I blame the teams playing them. Because if we're going by that, we completely missed the fact that Riwab... Cássio, by the first 20 minutes, should already have a yellow card. The first half should have had at least 5 minutes of added time. And we had, 3 minutes? I think he should have had, 5 or 6. Because people were also complaining about how, Benfica played really well in the second half, but they couldn't do anything on the first. Well, that's because there wasn't any game being played. It was so much stop and go. And that was mostly because Riwab were doing that. So if you want to start by talking that, we could also say that in the first half, that happened. So I think if you want to blame someone, you got to blame the teams and you got to blame the referees. They're not staying consistent. You can't blame Benfica for it. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
I know what you want to say.
At what point are we going to start making fun of Bruno de Cavide here?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was defending him on Twitter to me, the little pain in the ass.
The what?
Danny is a pain in the ass. He's defending him.
I was going to go with the predictions and close out the podcast, but
Danny.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, but I have questions. What are you doing?
No, calma. Let's just really quickly discuss the Bruno Carvalho thing. All right, so does anybody think that he's not crazy?
I think he's crazy.
He makes some ridiculous statements sometimes, but I'm going to say that he's on point on a lot of things that he does say. On
all
most.
Right. But from what I gather, one point that he wanted to establish as a rule would be that you cannot thrash the direção or show your discontent towards them, or you're going to lose your membership as a socio.
See, my understanding of these new rules that he's trying to pass, and again, it's up to sporting fans to deal with it, how they want to deal with this, is as the president of the club, he can now dictate who's a socio, who's not a socio, and if someone disagrees with him and he decides to deem it that it's being against the club, not only are they no longer a socio, they can't run against them. So you're basically setting up a situation that if there's any potential rivals to take over the club, he could basically, just like Putin does in Russia, oh, this guy has some momentum. You know what? He said some flavorful things about the club. He can't run anymore, and that's it. He's out of the race, and no one could ever debate that if he changes these rules. I think the thing I hate, if this actually goes through, it creates a huge risk for both Benfica and Porto, because I'd hate to see Luis Felipe Vieira try to pull this fast one. I'd lose my mind. I don't think these guys.
No,
should
that wouldn't go through though. That wouldn't.
No,
go
they wouldn't
through.
go through.
Like it's not going to go through with Sporting. That's crazy talk.
But the way Bruno Carvalho is talking, he's made it very clear that if this doesn't go through, he's resigning, and he's putting the
Let
club
him
in the heart.
resign. Let him resign.
They're not going to want him to resign, and they're kind of, I don't know, they're getting arms.
I mean, come on, Mario. We can't really say, look, I'm either going to be a dictator or I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Which one are you going to go with?
Dude, Danny is defending him. He's saying he didn't say these words. Okay. Seriously, there are people defending him. So what? Yeah, they are going to support him. It's crazy talk to us.
So I mean, I expect Antonio Costa to come out next week then and say whoever goes against him is no longer Portuguese and he's going to get deported. Because I mean, it's what Carvalho is basically saying. Hey,
he's crazy pants.
You're disagreeing with me? Okay, then you're not going to be a socio. We're not going to let you.
Which is not cool. If I'm paying my socio, F off. Like, I'm allowed to have an opinion, right?
That's why socios are a thing, and they're not a debt. Like, the common fan is just a common fan. The socio has the right to speak. No. I'm not trying to make them any different. I'm just saying that one actually has a voice. Like, I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to say that a person that's a socio is more of an adept than a normal adept. No, because obviously even financial situations sometimes don't even allow people to be socios. That's not
exactly.
I'm just saying that socios have an actual voice. You know, whether people want to admit that or not, they do. So, for example, if I'm a common fan and I say, oh, Luis Vieira is trash, okay, who cares? If a socio says Luis Vieira is trash, you can actually go and like vote in assemblies and go to like those meetings and
unless
actually
you're
discuss
overseas
stuff.
and you get it a day late. Anyway.
Sorry about that, Cynthia. Here's
I know.
a pat on the
Damn
back.
you, Luis.
No, but I don't know, Bruno. What do you think? Is this going to go through? Do you think that Bruno Carvalho is going to become the new dictator at Sporting, or is he going to go out, or is he just bluff? And it doesn't matter if it goes through or not. He's going to stay as president.
I think it's more like it doesn't matter if it's going to go through or not. He's still staying. I think he loves the spotlight as much as he says he doesn't. He really does.
I think that's
my opinion.
He doesn't crave titles. He craves spotlight. But you know.
No. I mean, I've spoken to enough Sportingistas to realize that this guy is like, he does not like Porto or Benfica. He doesn't like any of them. He's all about Sporting 100%.
He doesn't have to like them, but he has to live with them. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing that's hard with Bruno Carvalho, is that he won't agree to anything, even if it's the right thing, just because it's Benfica or Porto. He wants to isolate himself, which also doesn't help anybody. Not Sporting, not the Liga, not anyone.
He's got the mentality of Sporting versus the world. So, but again, if that's the mentality you want to have, so be it. But you definitely, in this business, you definitely need allies. And anyone that says otherwise is simply lying.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying like, go ahead and form like a friendship with a person. But like I said here before, when Benfica and Porto had to get together, have a sit down and talk, they talked. I mean, I don't care if they're friends or not. At the end of the day, when people have to talk for what's best for Portugal, you have to sit down with them. And how many times did we see news like, league meeting, and Bruno Carvalho refused to attend the meeting, and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. I mean,
he's done that frequently.
I know.
He's done that frequently.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
He actually sends everybody else to go to his meetings. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's going to catch up to him though eventually. You keep isolating, not just the other clubs, whatever. You can be against all the clubs. That's his decision. I can see the marketing angle from him. It's the more and more he's isolating Sporting socios, and it starts slow, but it's group after group. I think the most recent one he attacked, I forget the guy's name, but he's the, I don't know, it's a popular music band in Portugal. He plays a lot of the Sporting themed music, but he has his own music, and it's this band that's very popular with Sporting socios. I guess the guy said something.
Support.
Yeah, so I forgot what the hell it was. Anyway, so long story.
Supporting. That's what it's called. Supporting.
Oh, supporting those guys. Yeah, so he said something. They didn't agree with Bruno Cavani. I don't know the exact details. All I know is the guys. Bruno Cavani's gone and pulled the guy's CDs out of all the sporting shops. He's against this guy. I'm like, this isn't a music artist.
And that's why he wants to pull the socios. You see that?
And this is a
guy
that
exactly
pro music for sporting. Like this is a sporting geisha. So I think as time goes on and he continues to target this socio, that socio, they all got friends, and there's a certain point where eventually he hits his limit. And I think he's gambling here. And if this thing doesn't go through, then he's gonna have to back down and look like an idiot like he always does. But I think he's opening up the door for someone to run against him. And I don't know. I don't think he has much of a leg room left to stand. And that's been an issue at Sporting for ages, that they cannot get consistent leadership. He's probably been the most consistent one they've had, but he's starting to kind of run out of time.
I mean, he's been the thing that pisses me off most about Bruno Carvalho is that he had a very good first year. I mean, not in like actual results because he didn't win anything.
Nobody did give us a run. That first year they took JJ, he gave us a run.
And even before that, with I believe Leonardo Jardim and Marco Silva were both good years, and then he suddenly just snapped and decided to just try and buy as much as he could, and just try and offer JJ as much weapons as he could, and completely forgot about everything else that he was doing well. Let's not forget he recalled Adrian Silva from loan. He recalled William Carvalho from loan. He got Wilson Eduardo to play like a season or two for Sporting. He had several players that were out loaned and actually put them to good use. He brought in Slimani for cheap. He brought in Montero for cheap. Those are guys that were actually important. And all of a sudden, he decides to completely change his strategy, which was actually working for Sporting, and spends a bunch of money on JJ, spends a bunch of money on transfers. And the fact of the matter is that they're still not champions. And if they're not champions this year, then I think Bruno Carvalho does not have a place at Sporting at the end of the year.
But that's partly on the Jorge Jesus' fault also. Jorge Jesus was very adamant on having certain levels of control at Benfica, and I bet you for Bruno Carvalho to sign Jorge Jesus, part of it was an agreement that he was going to get a lot more control. And I think
it's still its fault though. Like
it's his fault
to sign him, and you had Mark Silva in, and it was doing a good job. You won you a Taça, and you just say bye bye. You will get JJ, which is like €6 million more expensive. And it's going to completely ruin our budget, but I want to win a title. And Mario, it's still his fault. It's not JJ. I mean, JJ has to do his job, right? So he has to come to you and tell you what he wants.
If Sporting had pulled off that title win that first year with Jorge Jesus, everyone would have been praising Bruno Carvalho, saying he's a genius. But the plan that he put out and he decided to pull that trigger got them close. And this is, I think, their last year that they can do it, because I think some of the guys they have are going to be gone next year. And I think they've blown their budget. I don't know. I think this was their last chance to go for it. And if they can't do it this year, I think they won't be better off next year. I'm just maybe looking too far into the future, but that's my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. All right. So to wrap up this Bruno Carvalho thing, talk about predictions. Bruno, do you want to say anything else?
Nothing.
All right.
That's all I got to say.
He's a pateta.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly run through the predictions then. Let's start with Sporting Ferians, because why not? So I'll let Mario go first. Mario, what do you think, Sporting Ferians?
I think it's going to be a draw.
Result, bro. Come on.
Result-wise,
give me something.
I'll give you a 2. I'll give you a 2-2. I think they're going to keep leaking goals in right now.
Epa.
All right. Cynthia.
I'm going to go 1-0 for Ferians.
Ballsy. Bruno.
I said before that they'll win, so they'll win this weekend. They'll win 1-0.
Okay, he goes with the same scoreline as me. 1-0 for Sporting as well. All right. Let's talk Chaves Porto, Bruno. I'll let you go first.
Tough game. 2-0 Porto.
Tough game.
Tough game. So tough.
They'll score late, though. They'll score late.
I'm going to actually make it tough. It'll be 1-1 or 2-1 for Chaves.
Hey, man. Every week.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game, Bruno.
She stole my prediction. I would have gone with 1-1 too. Mario, what do you think?
I just want to make one side comment. I usually get home from work around this time, and I hear her on this podcast, and I don't hear the other end. I just hear her talking, and I hear this prediction part. And every weekend, Porto's gonna lose, and
Everyone's losing.
I laugh my ass off every weekend. I'm like,
what do I say every time I get off the pod?
I'm like,
1 week, I'm gonna be right.
Yeah,
Porto needs to be an allegation at this stage.
Eventually, I'll be right.
I don't know.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
I haven't had my days yet.
Prediction wise, I'd love to say a draw. I got a feeling Porto's going to sneak this one out, like a 1-0 on Porto's side. But again, I feel this month, if it's not this game, similar to the Sporting situation, if it's not this game, it'll be next game. They're going to draw or drop some points at some point, I think.
So Portimonense Benfica, Mario.
I think this will be a win. This will be a win. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a great win because I still think we're playing a bit choppy. I'll say 2-1 because we'll get Varela dropping the ball somehow.
David, everybody steal their predictions. So 2-1 for me too, Cynthia.
Yeah, 2-1 for Benfica. I don't think it's going to be another Rio Ave 5-1. I don't think any of us called that, but 2-1.
I called 3-1. I was kind of close. I thought once it was 3-1, I was like,
you were too off.
Yeah, I was like, I predicted this, but I didn't predict it to be this difficult. Anyway, I think Bruno's going to go with like 3-0 for Portimonense. So
exactly.
I'm actually going to say 2-1 Portimonense. Listen, guys, you think I'm joking?
Nobody's underestimating them, bro. Nobody.
You think this? If you guys think or anyone thinks this is gonna be an easy game, you got something else coming. I'm not saying you guys.
At least
I'm talking about listeners.
No, I don't think it's gonna be an easy game. I think, given the way we're playing, I think
you're not playing very well.
Yeah, we're not playing.
You're not playing very
well. That's why I think it's gonna be a scrappy game. I think we'll pull it off. I think we got what it needs, but it's not gonna be easy. I almost.
I think this is the one game that you guys are gonna drop points.
If we lose this game, we're out of the title race.
We already dropped our points.
So.
Actually,
no, you got to drop some more.
I haven't looked into this. Is it going to be actually in Portimão, or are they going to do it at the Estadio Algarve?
No. It's going to be in Portimão.
It's in Portimão.
It's going to be in Portimão. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no.
You think you can play there every time?
There's one thing, though.
You can't play there every time.
There's one, Bruno, there's one question, though, that I want to just quickly, before we end the podcast, because it's been looming over my head and I haven't gotten an answer. Is Porto actually going to play in Belém, or are they going to play at Estoril? Like, what's the deal with that? Do you know?
No, it's at Estoril.
Okay, because some people were saying that the game was going to be moved to Belém or something like that, but I don't know if they ever made it official. If they never made it official, then it's going to stay at Estoril.
Yeah, because Sporting played in Estoril. If the stadium wasn't fit for
I know, Martin, but if they signed off on the game being played at Belém before that, you couldn't really change the location again. So that's why I asked. If it was something done before. All right. Cynthia, questions then?
Yes. So for Bruno, the last time that you were on the pod, we were talking about guys the CBs that get cards, and you were like, tell me one that doesn't get a lot of cards. And we had a listener, Glenn Gomes. He says that Lindelof, he only got 6 in 2 seasons, but he's Benfica, so he knew you were going to make comments.
Yes, of course. That guy, the Australian sun, affects his brain.
Glenn? Oh, man, nice. Way to fight people. That's great. Tathagata, you guys know our Indian listener. I have a sneaking suspicion he's Sporting, by the way, because he always asks Sporting questions. He wanted to know if Juno Silva to Roma was a substantial loss. I don't know about this at all. Any of you guys know this?
I think we talked about it last week, and summed it up. Wait, what are you talking about then?
You guys did. Yeah, you guys did. Jonathan Silva.
He asked this.
It's got to be Jonathan.
This morning.
Okay, but we talked about it last week, and
I'll sum it up. What's the listener's name?
Tathagata.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to the podcast.
I hope I'm not butchering that. I'm sorry.
He's gonna have to go back to the podcast.
I'll give him the answer. The short answer. The short answer was that Steph agreed with me and said that right now, no. In the long term, if Jonathan ends up proving himself to be a very good player, then yeah, it's a big loss. But right now, no. Nobody can say that it was a big loss.
Okay. And then he also said that his girl listens now. And so I said she's wifey material if she's benfiquista. Tá bem? Bruno 2.0. He's asking if JJ should even be Sporting's coach anymore.
Not after when his contract is done, he'll be done.
At the end of this year, he's done.
The end of this year,
no,
yeah.
The end of next year. At the end of next year.
No, he's done this year.
But he hasn't won.
If he doesn't win the title,
but the thing is, they can't fire him.
I don't care.
Remember, they can't fire him.
No, he's too expensive. He's too expensive to fire.
It's too expensive to fire, and he has too much to gain to stay.
He's not staying.
I'm telling you, he's going to stay.
No, the only way that I think the only way he'll be gone this season, like at the end of the season, is if somehow Bruno Carvalho gets out of as the president and they clean house. But as long as Bruno Carvalho is in, he's going to ride this out to the full term of the contract because he put all his bet on George Jesus. To fire him is going to cost a ton of money.
Both ways doesn't matter. He's going to go out. That's how I see it.
But Mario, you got to understand.
The big ego of Bruno Carvalho. Go ahead, but sorry.
He can't. No matter who the president is, they still have to honor the contract, and it's still too expensive to fire him. So he's not going to step.
I'm just saying if it's a knee-jerk reaction, right?
Reaction.
But I agree with what you're saying. It's an expensive firing.
He's not staying.
You don't think he's staying? I think he'll be here. He'll be here next year, but I think it'll be probably his worst season next year.
Here's the thing, though. If he somehow stays, he's going to have a terrible year. Yeah, I completely agree with you. But he's going because either A, Bruno Carvalho goes, and if Bruno Carvalho goes, I guarantee you that he can go off with the right terms with the next president, but JJ is not staying for the next president. Even if Bruno Carvalho stays, his ego is just extremely big, and, he's going to fire him no matter what that cost might be for Sporting. Because he doesn't care. He hasn't cared when he signed a bunch of players for 10 million. He's not going to care if he fires Jorge Jesus. That's all I'm saying.
The only way,
won't care.
I think one way it could happen, though, is that if there's a mutual conversation and there's a potential club that will take Jorge Jesus that would be of interest, but I can't see anyone else paying him at the same level.
But I think that would happen with another president. I just don't see Bruno Carvalho being that type of person. I don't. But, it is what it is. Any more questions, Cynthia?
Yeah. Bruno 2.0 again asks, if SLB make a comeback and win the league, what's that say about Sporting and Porto?
That they bottled again.
Yes, I agree with that. 100%, that statement.
Well, no, as of today, it's a full race. Like, it's only it's a tight gap. But again, they've already bottled it at this point.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's fully in any of the three teams at this stage because it's within their control. They win their respective games and beat the rival, they'll win the title, right? So, the chance.
You got 5 points behind, right?
Well, Benfica needs Porto to drop points, the tie or a loss.
Yeah, no.
Before they, even if they beat Porto, they need Porto to drop points once. But I think Porto's going to drop points.
Bruno, I'm just going to Bruno you real quick here because you're always like, no, listen. Bruno, listen. Estoril just giant killered Sporting. They are already going into this half winning against you 1-0. Yes, and they were beating you 1-0 going into the half. You think they're going to pull a Rio Ave 5-1?
Did you forget that we have a lot of firing power?
You forget that you have a full February?
All right. And we got players.
You forget that you have a game 3 days before that one and then, 4 days later? You're not going to want to go guns blazing against Liverpool?
Did you forget that you have to go to Portimonense and that's where you're going to drop some points?
We're not talking about us, Bruno. We're not talking about us.
No. This is my okay. I'm a Benfiquista, and obviously there is always a bias in there. But I do think with the packed schedule, whether it be not being able to pull the comeback on Estoril or something else, there will be a moment where Porto drops some points. But it's not going to mean the end or the beginning of anything.
Yes, it does.
When you're within, no, but Benfica still has to face Porto. And that's within their own control, whether Benfica wins or loses, right?
And we'll beat you there, and you guys will draw against
Porto.
But that's in Porto's control and Benfica's control, right? And in reality, is what half a season to go. odds are that both Benfica and Porto could drop points. So right now it's a fully open race. So I'm not even entertaining the fact that any team's out of it. I just feel that Sporting could potentially fall into like a spiral if they start dropping more and more points. And again, that'd be entertaining.
That I agree. I think
they get two bad results. They get 2 bad results and they're out.
And I think Sporting has, and this is again, I'm not just attacking Sporting, but this is both the Jorge Jesus and Sporting thing that they have had a tendency to choke in the second half of the season. Same with Jorge Jesus, and if that does start to happen, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And we've seen it at Benfica too, so it's not like it's nothing new. It's JJ. Anyway, Cynthia, any more questions?
The last things coming in are from Brian at the Benfica Pod. First comment he makes is that the Seahawks suck Eagle Bolinhas. Thanks, Brian.
The Seahawks do not suck, but okay, fine, whatever.
He said that just for you, obviously.
I know.
And then the second comment he made is actually about Tiki Taka League. Cointron looks like a crack baby. And there we go. Great questions, Brian. Thanks.
It's extremely important and extremely informative, and this is why we have the greatest listeners in the world. Exactly because of that feedback is just tremendous. I'm expecting Quintero looks like a crack baby every single episode now to come up with a question, or I'm going to be upset with everybody.
Oh my lord! Like from different people, I'm going to get these tweets. Oh god.
Mari, what are you going to say? Anything?
That was all the questions. That's everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say anything.
For like closing comments? Hey, Cynthia, what's for dinner?
I made fish now. You pain in the ass. Like, you're such a pain. I swear to God.
All right. So to wrap it up, I'm gonna thank Cynthia obviously for being here with me today.
You're welcome.
Gonna thank you too, Mario. It's gonna be interesting to see how the dinner conversation is gonna go, because pretty sure you guys are gonna be talking about this, or maybe not. Just completely forget about it. But anyways, it's nice having you on, and definitely, hope to have you on, more often, way more often, maybe. And thank Bruno too for being on after a 2-week absence. I mean,
it was nice to have you on again.
Can't believe I'm saying that. I missed the Batista, but yeah.
You missed me completely.
Exactly.
I think the guy's sick, so don't be too excited.
That what?
All right, so I don't know. Marty closed out his comment, bro. You didn't hear it?
No. It's all good. I'm joking with Peter being sick, so you can't really take that
right. Peter was sick. Pastel nata muito azedo, and that was it.
I've been sick for 3 weeks, and it's not gonna pass. But anyway, thank you.
He's dying.
Thank you everybody for listening. I am not dying. I'll be here next week for episode number 85. Do not worry about that.
Peter, it was the Pastel's bling.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I honestly don't even like it too much. But anyway, that's besides the point. And anyway, thank you guys for coming in. We'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.